Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you in this quick tutorial just how to deal with some random numbers. Now, I've got a really lame starter program with a weird fish and an apple, but I want you to understand random numbers are important because everything about the computer program is really numbers. So even like where things are, you're really in an XY grid all the time. Even if this grid doesn't show up, you're in an XY grid. This apple right now, for example, is at, you have an X-axis, Y-axis. He's at the point negative 150-ish, negative 99.58. I was close. And he's just saying that for me so I can see it. But he always knows his own X and Y position. I'm going to go into the apple. What I'm going to say is when the game starts, the apple is always going to say, if I'm touching the fish, go. And these blue set X and set Y blocks are here in your motion. So basically, anytime he's touching the fish, he's going to go to the center of the screen, is what he says. So here it comes. Boom. Very exciting. Actually pretty boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take him over here. And I don't want him always to go to 0, 0, which is what this says. I would like him to go somewhere random. Now watch this. If I say this green operator tab has these random numbers. This is still not very cool because it's going to give me some random X and a random Y, but those random X and random Y are always just going to be somewhere. Watch that. He's just bouncing around because he's going to be, what he's saying is be between 1 and 10 in the X and 1 and 10 in the Y, which is just that little bitty region, and he can't escape it. So what I'm going to say is, I could get this fancier. I could say, that's not really what I want, but between 1 and 100 in both directions would mean he could be somewhere. See how he's going random, but he's never leaving this one square between 1 and 100x, 1 and 100y. So that gives you a limited amount of motion. What would be really cool is if he could go all over the screen. So take a look at your x-axis. The smallest x you have is negative 240. You can also see down here, it's always telling you where your mouse is. The x-axis is in a range from negative 240 to 240. So, watch this. Now, he's having... But notice he can't leave in the Y. Oh, this is so mathy. I love it. He can't leave this range between 0 or 1 and 100. So he's stuck in that Y range. But if I said, take a look at the Y's. They go from negative 180 to positive 180. And that's always the size of the screen in Scratch, FYI. It's always negative 240 to 240, negative 180 to 180. Now watch this. He could go anywhere. Two random numbers give him complete movement on the screen. So, you don't always have to use random numbers as X and Y. You can give him a random size. You can give him a random direction. Everything about computer programs is numbers. But a really cool way to do it is to use random numbers. Now, watch this. If you wanted to say... what if I said, I always want you to go to your X is 240, but I want you to have a random Y. So when I touch this apple, he's going to go make his X become 240, but he gets a random Y. So that could teleport him anywhere there. So if you wanted maybe to have him, I'm getting a little fancy, but why would you do this? You might say, that's not what I wanted, sorry. You might say that he will take care of, no, sorry. I want to change X, make his X is always getting smaller all the time, right? And so he's moving himself. When I touch him, his X goes to 240, but his Y becomes random. So you could have something like that. So random numbers could be pretty handy. That's the way you use them, and they're going to be awesome.